I'm going to stick to football. That's what we're here for.
So let's talk football then. With all of the ownership questions, and Jason kind of talked to those at the Eric Bieniemy presser, how does that impact your attack for free agency?
It doesn't, and that's one of the really neat things about it. It's, again, and I've said this over, probably within the last month, is I've gotten a lot of support on the things that I've wanted to do from ownership. What we do for the most part is we've put our plan together. I've met with them. I've let them know exactly what we're doing, and they've been very supportive. So they go out and do the things you need to do. So that's all we're going to do.
You and Martin talked about the budget at the end of season meeting.
Yep.
Philosophically, how do you intend to approach free agency this year? Big spenders, trying to find bargains?
Well, it's going to be a little bit of both. We obviously got to take care of our own first, and we want to try and get those guys taken care of first, and then we'll move into free agency with probably fair deals, and then hopefully we'll set ourselves up so where we get to the draft and we can do what we want to do as opposed to what we have to do.
What are the biggest areas you think need to be addressed?
Well, as we're going through it, we know where we want to look. We really do, and we feel comfortable that we're gonna address some of those needs through free agency, and then we'll get into the draft and we'll use assets there to fill out the rest of it.
You guys also released Bobby McCain. Mm-hmm. Why did you release him, or why?
Well, I feel very comfortable with what we saw from the young guys. You see what Defoe and Cam have done, and Percy got some opportunities this year, and you feel very strongly about your young guys. And going through what we've had to go through in terms of trying to grow and develop, getting the young guys out there shows us where we can go and where we can be.
The tight ends this year, is that a group where you're thinking there could be some change, or do you kind of like where they're headed right now?
I like where that group's headed. I really do. Logan's coming off of that knee, and everybody's got to understand, not everybody's Adrian Peterson. Not everybody's going to come back in 8 months. And so, he started to play the way that we know he's capable of as we got later into the year. And so that's the guy we're expecting to see when we get to OTA's mini camp and training camp this year. So we think it'd be a very viable group. We really do.
After spending some time with Eric, do you still anticipate you guys being a run-first offense?
I anticipate Eric running the offense the way he feels best for us. And again, it's not necessarily run first. I think what Martin said, people took out of context is we didn't get a chance to explain it because everybody was so excited. You guys tweeted it out and got it out there that we want to be 2-1 run. What you want to do is you want to get yourself in a position where you're balanced. You get into the fourth quarter, you got to lead, and then you grind it out. That's really what that comes from. So just so we understand, you're going to play balanced football to score points. You got that lead in that fourth quarter, you can become 2-1 as far as run to pass is concerned. So that's what we're going to do as far as that's concerned. What Eric's going to do is come in and he's going to install the offense and look at what we have as far as talent, and then each week he'll devise the offensive game plan to fit attacking our opponent.
Beyond Bobby McCain, do you anticipate releasing other vets, or is that still to be determined?
Well, we're still working through a lot of things. One thing that we got to do too is, and I know Eric showed a good feel for our personnel, but he hasn't had an opportunity to really dive through all those guys either. So again, we still have some decisions to make going forward, but we feel very comfortable where we are right now.
What's the process like, the timeline, if you're going to go to some of your veteran players about a restructure?
Well, the biggest thing you want to do right now is, whatever you're going to do, you want to do it whenever you can as far as giving guys opportunities to get out there in free agency. And with free agency coming, that's why we were prompted with some of the moves that we made, was we wanted to give guys the opportunity to get out there. Secondly, as far as those things are concerned, is as we go through and get into free agency, start looking at what you have, now you may want to reach out to some of these guys and talk about some of that stuff.
What's the approach specifically with the interior of the offensive line? I know that's been kind of a trouble spot for you.
Well, I think it's about staying healthy more so than anything else, and that's why it's been a trouble spot for us. In my 3 years here, we haven't had a season where, we've played the majority of our starters the majority of the games. Everything from, at one point getting to 6 centers, a year ago, that was rough. So again, it's about staying healthy, but yeah, we got to look at some things and look to do some things to get younger. Play some more of those younger guys, and we'll see what happens.
A guy like Cosme, who has been on the edge and then bumped inside a little, any clarity there what his future looks like?
That's probably the biggest thing that we have to sit down and, I've talked with him a couple of times already, and he's been very positive about either position. Now Eric's going to come in, going to sit down with our coaches. They'll evaluate, they'll look at it, and we'll figure out where we're going to start from there. But he is a young guy that we really like, and knowing the fact that he could play either of those two positions gives us an opportunity going forward with some of our decision making through free agency and the draft.
If Sam does win the job, would you prefer to have an older center with him? Would it bother you if there was a younger center?
Honestly, no, it wouldn't. Just listen to Sam. Sam's a very smart football guy, and that's one thing I think everybody got to understand too. That was one of the reasons that I feel comfortable giving him this opportunity. He is a very bright guy. I know Eric's going to do some things differently. I don't think Sam's going to have a problem picking those things up. I really don't. Or for that matter, any veteran quarterback. I think you have a system that's going to be based on more so than anything else. It's just learning the terminology. Everybody runs the same concepts. It's just a matter of relating what somebody calls a spin dig to a high low. So that's probably the biggest thing out there.
What was sort of the thinking and changing the coaching stuff with the wide receiver, since that was probably one of your stronger positions there, just in terms of depth? But.
Well, he got the opportunity to go to Arizona and be a passing game coordinator. So as far as those things are concerned, it's a move up for him.
Linebacker is a position that, based on usage at a minimum, you guys kind of de-emphasized last year, also maybe with investment. Is that still, you think, the same philosophy going forward?
Well, I wouldn't say we minimize it. It was just because we play two guys on the field doesn't mean we think any less of it. It's just that you get into situations now and you got 11 personnel out on the field or 10 personnel field. Do you want to have a third linebacker? No, not really. So we've decided, that when we start playing 11 personnel, we're going to end up doing that. 12 personnel, depending on who you're playing against. 12 personnel, that second tight end could be a guy that's just as capable as any wide receiver in the league. So you've got to be able to say, hey, we want to play a big nickel package and rotate a bigger guy down in there, as opposed to having a linebacker that goes out there and now he's got to try and cover that guy. I think that's one of the things that we sit down and really look at. And then if a team comes out with three big tight ends or a jumbo package, we can go to an extra defensive lineman if we wanted. In a couple instances, we did go to three linebackers. But again, with the way things are trending in this league, you've got to be adaptable to your opponent more than anything else. Playing the two linebackers and three safeties gives us that flexibility.
How does Cole Holcomb factor into the plans here?
Cole's a guy that's a free agent and we got to get taken care of. So, again, we'll go from there.
With the backup quarterback, you've talked about maybe it's Heineke, maybe it's another veteran.
Yep.
Is that something you let the market settle, or do you have to address that tampering period March 15?
We have to look at that from the beginning. Again, a lot of it's going to come down to what Eric thinks, an opportunity to visit with him and go through those things. He is very knowledgeable of our guys, of our quarterback position as far as that's concerned. And then, again, just hearing what he's looking for, what he likes, what he thinks, that's an important thing.